conversation.
Thank you
so much.
Hella, thank you for being here.
Yeah, sure.
We would like to talk, starting with your work with the vases, taking that as a sort of lead into our discussion, because I bought it, I think, in 1997. This was the first time I went to Milan. It was somewhere outside the city. There was this metal bookshelf cupboard, and there were these vases. And it blew my mind, literally. I needed to have those vases. They were extremely expensive then for me, which they were not. But, you know, for me at that point, it was in guilders. But I think I even paid you in several times because I couldn't even pay it in one time. So you were really nice. And now, of course, this is one of the major works of your life. It's now part of the collection of the Van Abbe, which is great. And what I'm curious about is that it takes the past with fragments of archaeological vases to reach the present, and then you go into the future with the finishing of these works. So that is something I believe so vital, that we include the past in the future. Can you tell us your thought process and how did it started? How did you make this work?
Yeah. Well, it is a work of 30 years ago. So it was really at the start of my career, what is interesting because it is still so relevant. I was 3 months in the ceramic work center, and I wanted to make ceramics that has a human approach. So not the industrial work that we know of, this very hygienic, slick, perfect surfaces. So imperfection was one of my stories, and the other topic was how to repair or how to look at archives. And therefore I made these vases, the group of vases. First I went to the Museum of Boijmans to ask for archaeological mid-even shards. And so I received them, and then I thought, well, I will make some pots for it, and incorporate the handles or the nose, or make my own history with it. Start to work on a new work based on the old collection. And as soon as they were finished, they looked like, so in a way, yeah, I didn't find them relevant, or I didn't find them contemporary at all. So I thought, I'd like to add something also against this holy idea of in ceramic land, the glazing, this very traditional. And so I thought I just take some car spray and paint it in a color I like, and don't worry about this whole topic of this traditional way of looking at ceramics. And also, yeah, I wanted to have this quick fix, that gives something oxygen. So that's always what I like in the end. If you work and think very long on an object, then suddenly all the blood is out, like you thought of it so much. And then I'm looking for some oxygen, and was this car spray. So this is how this work came about.
And the metal is also car spray.
Yes, it's silver, and the red was red Toyota, and the silver was Porsche or something. I wanted to have a Porsche car and a car for everybody, And, yeah.
And then from these vases, you developed a collection of vases which are contemporary commercial vases, which are still everywhere and still super desirable. But what is interesting in those pieces, and also in the one from the museum, is that you sign with yourself.
Yeah.
So What is that? What does that mean?
Well, that is looking back at the potteries from the early days. They also always signed it on the bottom, so you can recognize in antiquariaten, you recognize from who is the maker. So I wanted to have my own thumb, because I also made them by hand, so they are hand-minded, and that's why I want to show it with my thumb. And the faces, you know, they are in my oeuvre, they went with me for a long time, because I made textiles with this object as an object, or it is for me a canvas that I use that I can fill in different ways. So the vase is, yeah, it's a fluent animal, you know. It really yeah, is floating into my archive. Yeah. So I'm
It's just
happy.
sort of also of an abstraction, which allows you to do many other things.
Yes. It's
And
it doesn't function in that sense. The only function it has, that it has to contain water, but I'm also not so strict. If it has holes, and it works on this, but for this particular purpose, I'm free to.
I know, because you've been taping actually glass
Yeah.
and ceramic.
Yeah.
That's not very easy to be practical, but it does work.
Yeah, and I also, you know, in that sense, it was also very difficult. Everybody was telling me, yeah, the shrinking and the temperatures of the shrinking of glass and ceramic, that's so difficult. And then I thought, you know what, you know, I just taped them together, and that was also something of, you know, take it easy and give it a contemporary or postmodern exercise or aesthetics.
Where does this, you are fearless in your decisions, where does that come from? And how do you sustain that for so long?
I'm very quickly bored myself and impatient. I'm Dutch. I think that is also helpful. So I was raised in the time that the people that are 5 years older were all hippies. And that was something I also adored. So that was my dream, to become a hippie. And so I think the oxygen or the blood or the sexiness, or, you know, that's something you want to look for, think beyond or against the system. That's, I think, what it is. And that's
Fighting the system.
Fighting the system. I think that's what it is. Yeah.
And so
I also think people start to wake up. It communicates, you know, and you want to have a communication with your object and a human being, because then it resonates, and then people will keep it a bit longer. Or it's also about longevity, like aesthetic longevity. It's also a very relevant topic. How can you keep your things longer? Not only that it functions longer, but also that it's aesthetically still interesting to look at, and that it still stays vibrant. So I think if it has all these different layers, and also the oxygen or the blood in it, then it resonates with people. Yeah.
You know, it also is important, I think, for people to have a relationship with work. Yeah. So in your case, you know, it's very easy to have a relationship, because the presence of your work in our life is helping us. It's almost like having a pet, you know. You can have a real sort of love for these things. And that is very typical in your work, even in your serial work. Mm-hmm. Even in the work for the B collection, like Plan B. Although it's very simple and very everyday, it has enough character and flow so that we can again and again look at a plate or look at a baker and say, oh, you know, this Hella. And
Yeah. Yeah, I think this handwriting, yeah. I think in good art, you know, in a nice art piece, you also, every time you find something new or it stays. And why can't we have this in our objects? You know, this handwriting. If you look in museum collections, you see chairs or cupboards that are done in the time of Memphis or so on. You never see those again in industry. And these are the ones that now everybody loves because they are so outspoken.
yeah,
And I think this voice, or being not objective but subjective and present as a person, as a designer, but you have to get the chance, you know, if your voice is too loud, the industry is not interested to pick you up. So it is always this balance act, like first start to be very cautious and think with the system, and then on a certain moment, if you have the trust and the clients become your friend, then you can, yeah, you know, you move a bit more, and then on a suddenly you have topics everybody loves, and also within the companies.
I remember in the early days for Maharam, you made a fabric which had almost no repeat. And it was, the repeat was very, very big. So this means for people who don't know textiles that you don't have the repetition of the motif. So the whole textile becomes like a landscape. And when you put it on a sofa or something, it becomes, yeah, more like an artwork or a painting or fiber art than industry. So how did you get them so crazy to do that? Because nobody wanted to accept that at that time.
Oh, nobody wanted that. No. The thing is, I was asked to make a product to celebrate the company's like 100th birthday or so. And so it didn't have to be a commercial product.
Ah, good.
That's why they were liberate and are open to this new idea. And the owner was really also somebody with a very exceptional cultural mind and open for interesting and beautiful things. So at that point, I did the 3-meter repeat. So each piece around your table or your sofa will look different. So within the system to make individuals, that was the idea. And on a certain moment, it became really commercial for them.
That's what I was going to ask. It was also a success.
Yeah. A very, very great success. And the difficulty was not the production, you know, 3-meter repeat is nothing of a production, but to sell it. You know, the agents who went, the salespeople had to go with 3-meter instead of this really small label. So they had to go with the 3-meter and tell them every piece of furniture will look different. So you don't have a guarantee. And that's so difficult to sell, you know, but it's
people want the same thing always. It's so crazy.
Yeah,
but then this, I think your polder sofa is somehow born from this also, no? That there is this sofa which is landscaped as well.
Yeah, and also to have 6 different fabrics and not, you know, one fabric, because the item is so large in your house. And if you have one fabric, you know, you want to have other functions of the fabric. So you want to have cotton, you want to have wool, you want to have blends, just another shade of the color, but one tone. So 6 different colors of red or 6 different colors of green. And so that makes the sofa new and different to look at. And also, it also went commercial. So we didn't know at the start. At Vitra, they always said, you're making hate or love pieces. And that is the case. And we were all very happy that it is a love item, because it is now in the classics.
Can you share with us a hate item? I'm curious.
The hate items. Well, that was a chair I did for also for Vitra. It was with a lot of wood in the back, but a lot of hate items never came on the market. So they
No.
show it then once, and then they see nobody wants it,
Forget
and then
about it. No.
it's out of the system. Yeah. So yeah, very outspoken things are not. I did this whole idea for a KLM, which is of course a very
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that. How can you have your design discipline in an aircraft?
Yeah, that's really then the boundaries are so stricted, but I like it very much when it is so strict. Then I start to be creative, because then you need to, what kind of puzzle do I have to make, and also you have to convince them in another way. So not about aesthetics but about function. So what I did this 5 different colors of chairs in very nice wool. So the polyester went out. There is a very nice wool now in business class, and so
That's
with
revolution.
yeah, that's a revolution. With the and that's also true. If you have different colors, your airplane looks wider, looks bigger than you have one color. These are then topics that resonate at the other part of the table. But what I did over there, I gave a PowerPoint on a certain moment that I was also longer with them on the way. And I had a PowerPoint with animals in the plane, so that we have different animals. So we have giraffes, we have elephants, and we have little mouse, that we have to change the chairs for all different sizes of people. Well, they were all like, what is this? They really couldn't believe it that I
The flying Ark of Noah.
yeah, it was also, I also made very nice drawings that where you see all the animals going to the plane, and no, they didn't like it. And I also did a carpet for the plane, because if there is a spot on the carpet everywhere in the world, you need to repair it so that people are again in a fresh plane, so that you see how it is repaired. That was also an idea, that each time if you have a spot, you cut something out and you get another color. That was also something they didn't like at all. I thought it's like polder, it's our landscape. You fly over the polder landscape, or a landscape in the world. So I like the idea very much, but these are things they laugh a bit, but it's off the table very easily. So
you managed to do a nice dotted polka dot curtain, isn't it?
yes, yeah. Woven, yeah, that was based on the idea of making a bead curtain. I first wanted to make a bead curtain between business class and economy, because I thought it's nice to have some air in between, so that you can look through, you have a conversation, or it's not so divided.
Yeah.
But I didn't want this, of course, this bead curtain. I did this bead curtain for the UN in the Delegate Lounge in New York. So I thought, then I will weave a bead curtain. So this is why it is a dotted curtain. Yeah.
Well, we need to speak about color, because that's one of your favorite things, as we can even see in the image where you are. And it's your forte. You work with Vitra. It's been in your work always. So how did that start, and how does it progress, and how do you feel about color for the future?
Yeah, I think color is for me a material, so it is always, I also always treated it this way, this way as being a material. So it started also by seeing that the quality of our colors that the designers have to use for plastics and for metal sprays, and that we only have this very standardized color, so the recipes are very poor. So I wanted to change something within the recipes in industry, so that they could breathe with the light, so that they change during the day. That was the idea. So that's why I started to work with colors. That came about the work that I was doing for Vitra, and I thought, why could I have nicer red? So where is this little dash of red in the green, you know? Where are all the blacks? There's only this one stupid carbon black. Come on, give us a palette of blacks, and then the whole range of colors. All the grays will be different if we have only one extra black in another recipe than the carbon black. So that was the idea on colors. And for now, I must say, for me now is the relevant topic first thinking about making materials new, you know, and we have to have a healthy planet, and so we have to rethink all our materials, and so this becomes before form or function or color. So I would say first materials. This is now, we are all in this interbeing. What's happening in the world is happening in me. And so materials, changing materials, thinking of active materials or smart materials, thinking of conductive yarns, solar power in materials. This is what interests me now much more than color.
So you include more technology?
Yeah, that's the idea. That's what I'm looking for. Of course, first it needs to be a circular material. And then I think it's interesting, if we are now starting to make new materials or design new materials, let's make them smart and within this thinking of circularity. Yeah.
You're able to do that within the Vitra family? No?
Well, I'm in the sustainability board, so I am. We are redoing all the materials, so all furniture will get a material passport, and so it will be more recyclable. It's a huge operation. We are working on it since 3 years, and it's in 2030 the whole footprint will be down to 0. So this is a major operation. No, I'm more thinking of an academic, technical universities to think on smart materials, to do research there. Yeah.
So you're starting this, or you're already on it?
No, there is something in the air that I don't know yet if this will happen, but in a few weeks or a month, I will know a bit more.
You will know. Mm-hmm.
But I'm very much interested in this energy topic, or into technology, into materials, and especially in weaving, because weaving is a topic that is now interests me a lot, and this 3D weaving to make very light objects, and weaving is the strongest and lightest construct that we have. So 3D weaving, making vehicles that are woven light, you don't need that much energy, and or pieces of architecture. So this is something that is now our research. Yeah.
You have been weaving on a super loom, I mean a hyperloom. Hella was invited by the Galerie Lafayette Anticipation in Paris, which is a building of Rem Koolhaas, and which is a very high building, high up, small and high. And she again had the guts to consider the whole building her loom. So when you enter the building, up to the ceiling, there was a loom.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
So how did that work in your mind? How did you get that idea? It's a crazy idea. It's wonderful.
That's a crazy idea. Well, the topic looms was on my mind, so I wanted to show self-made looms. And I think because the looms in the factories are no longer creative machines, so I wanted to make my own loom to come to new materials and new techniques. And when I entered the building and I saw all the levels, all the floors you could take out, I thought I'd take them all out, and then I have an empty space, and this will be my loom. This will be my machine. And Yeah, this is, and I'm now doing again for TU Eindhoven. I will do another room loom that is also an object that will be as big as 2 floors. So it starts on the ground floor and the loom is upstairs, and we will weaving it on site. It will be a big cube, 3D woven cube, only the ribs. So that will be ready. I think we start in February, and then it will be ready March or April. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
So
And
looming, room looming, human looms, dancing with the yarn. So that's something that I find also very interesting, that it is, it's also a social matter, this weaving. It's not only a technique, but it is so much more. That's why I also am interested in looms. Yeah.
But here you become really a fiber artist. So that's another field you enter, an architect, I would say. So you could even conceive buildings to be woven.
Yeah, why not? And I don't know, it doesn't matter what I'm called, you know.
No,
I think I would say like the research always lands somewhere. So it is an artistic approach, my way of working. I work like an artist, research and just come up with ideas, and then it always lands because I'm also a practical person. So I like to have challenges or solve problems. That's also what I think is makes work relevant. If you solve a problem, not only solving the problem, but that's I find that an interesting way of looking at my work. Yeah.
And so you wrote a manifesto at one point together with Louise. What is your mind? Where is your mind in that respect? Where do you want the design world to go, let's say?
Yeah, that was in 2015. It was Beyond the New. How can we come with a world without only thinking about the new as quality, and that commercial will tell us what is good. And I think that's still very relevant. It was something a lot of people feel. So it was resonating to a lot of people. And I think it's still very relevant. As a designer, you have to have very good reasons to come with something. And new is nothing, you know, new is just like, it's the graveyard, you know, you use sources. And you really have to have a very good reason to come with something new.
Right.
So in that sense, it transformed this word new that, into another light now that we are facing these materials that are really rare and that we take care of. And yeah, and that we keep our planet. So
before we leave you, it's so nice to talk to you. I would love to continue. I know you have to go as well. Can you tell our audience what gives you hope?
Yeah, I'm very, very positive always. I think if I see, I have 2 daughters who are in the age of 18, so around 18, 19. I see people that want to change something and don't want to have materials around them, don't buy new shit, have clothes that they find on the street. And they have a large group of people in Berlin around them. And, you know, they're not angry, they just do it different, you know. I find it all, yeah, they just have another mindset. And if I look at the Design Academy, all these topics about awareness, about taking care of the planet, and this is so hopeful. This is so hopeful. And I think as a designer, and also if I see an industry like how Vitra is so very serious, busy with making the company totally healthy and without any poison. So And this is also a new generation of this woman
Leader.
who's now the owner is also a new generation. So I see so many, yeah, good change, and it's yeah. I find it also very exciting. Yeah, very exciting to be in this interbeing. Yeah.
Mm. Thank you so much. That is very good for all of us to give us more hope at the end of the day. A beautiful discussion. Thank you for your insights, and especially thank you for your work.
Thank you so much for your initiative for this very nice hope podium.
Thank you.
Thank you.